Hello friends and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm so glad to see you, and if you're returning, thanks for coming back. You guys know how much I love you and love seeing you here. So today I thought I would briefly talk about International Quilt Festival in Houston. A lot of you have asked me how it was and all those things. So I'm going to share some pictures and just talk a little bit about festival. I had a really good time. I met with some friends, I met with some subscribers, and I got to see the beautiful quilts and of course the the shopping, which I did really good, you guys. You'd be proud of me. So let's talk all about festival. So let's talk a little bit about Quilt Festival. Quilt Festival was wonderful. Now, usually I go to Quilt Market, and I did go to Quilt Market for a day this time. Very short, well, it's like a day and day, total of a day. I came in on Sunday, did walk the floors for just a little bit, and then a little bit on Monday. Typically, I just go to Quilt Market. I've never actually been to festival. And during Quilt Market, you can actually see all the quilts. So the only difference between Quilt Market and Quilt Festival is Market is for the business side, where as business owners, we meet with our reps, our fabric reps, our distributors, and we order things for like the next 6 to 9 months for our shops. And sometimes there's things to buy, but not usually that to take home. You just order things for your shop, except for Sample Spree. And a lot of people have asked about Sample Spree and Schoolhouse and all those things that are part of Quilt Market that are not part of Quilt Festival. So I'll tell you about that really quickly. So Schoolhouse is a series of workshops or classes that we can take on the first day of Quilt Market. It's actually the day before Quilt Market, to be honest with you. And they're little kind of previews, like Tula Pink was there and some of the other folks, and they show you upcoming fabric lines, or they show you a new technique or a new tool or things like that. And then you kind of put those things in your thinking cap, see how you might use them in your shop, and then a lot of those things are available on the floor when they open it the next day, which is Saturday. Schoolhouse and Sample Spree happen on a Friday, and then Market opens on Saturday. So you can go to those booths and order those things for your shop if there's something you're interested in. So it's basically to drum up interest in their upcoming product lines, or whether that's fabric or notions or whatever. So that's what Schoolhouse is for. And each Schoolhouse session, there's 5 or 6 different Schoolhouse things to pick from. So you kind of hope that during each session that there's not multiple things you want to see, because that can be really difficult. So you just have to pick the one that most appeals to you, or you think most appeals to your customers. So that goes on all day on Friday of Quilt Market. And then Friday evening is what they call Sample Spree. Now, Sample Spree is not my jam. Sample Spree is, I mean, it can be fun, but it's really like the Hunger Games. It's like, may the odds be ever in your favor, because it gets really wild, and you wouldn't expect it from that demographic of people, but there is pushing, shoving, running, hair pulling I've seen, and I'm not kidding you. I saw that not this year because I wasn't there this year, but the year before. I was waiting at the Moda booth, which is the most popular booth, and somebody's pulling somebody's hair to get a fabric that was on the table. So not cool. I really don't like Sample Spree. I mean, it's fun to get the fabrics ahead of time, because these are all fabrics that come out 6 to 9 months away. So you can grab, fabrics, and you get fat quarter bundles and take them back home to your shop and make samples, that kind of thing. So you can sell those upcoming lines. But is it worth all that? No. Because nothing there are things that you can't order and have delivered to your home. You're not going to get them right then, right? You're not going to get the preview packs, but you're going to get them, a few months later. But that's so much better than killing each other for fabrics and notions. So that I didn't miss. As a more shy person, a more introverted person, Sample Spree is very overwhelming, and I just don't like all that craziness. I mean, it's the type of craziness you see at, big popular rock concerts where people are all on top of each other and stuff, and that's just not my thing. So that's basically what Sample Spree is. It's a shopping opportunity for the business side, where we can go in and buy things, like I said, either previews of stuff way ahead of time, or even like packs of threads or this or that, things like that, that you can get wholesale, that maybe if you don't have accounts with those companies, you can't normally get wholesale. So it's kind of shopping for the shops, or the shop owners. And the shopping part is fun. The crowds are not. So it's probably something I will never participate in again. Just, it's just not me. But for those who go to Sample Spree, I know they love it. So awesome for them. I hope they had a great time. So anyway, I went to Quilt Market the last basically day and did what I needed to do, met with a couple of my reps, and then I visited with a friend in Houston, and then I stayed over for Quilt Festival. And Quilt Festival was definitely crowded and busy, but in a very different way from like a Sample Spree type thing. There weren't people like Hunger Game style trying to get things, which was nice. The crowds weren't too bad on Wednesday evening, which was the preview night where you got to see all the quilts. Now, like I said, during Quilt Market, you can see all the quilts, but I chose not to. I decided to wait and not see the quilts and see them with my friends. And so I went on preview night, which was Wednesday evening, and I believe that was the 30th. The dates are all getting messed up in my head, but the 30th of October. Got to see all the beautiful quilts. Super wonderful. I mean, the winners are always amazing, but just to see my friends' quilts on display, and then all the creativity, it just, it makes you, even if you think you're a good quilter, you go there and it makes you feel like a baby quilter. So, but it's very inspirational. Like I said, I took some pictures, not as many as I'd hoped to, but that's just because I was enjoying things so much, that I didn't want to have my camera out the whole time. I just feel like you miss so many moments in life if you live your life through a lens instead of actually experiencing it. So, got to see all the quilts. That was amazing. And then the shopping did open on the preview night, which I didn't realize. I thought it was just the quilts show that opened and not the shopping. But really didn't look around on Wednesday night. Waited till Thursday to do that. And it wasn't too bad on Thursday. I mean, there's people, but it wasn't super crowded. Saw some things. And then Friday, which was my last day at Festival, although Festival continued on through Sunday, but Friday was my last day there. It was very crowded. It's uncomfortably crowded. We walked through the show floor a few times and I was just like, okay, I need to get out of here. It's too many people. It was loud. And the big difference I noticed between market and festival is that they narrow the aisles quite a bit so they can fit more vendors, which I appreciate that they had a lot of vendors, which is great. But it's almost uncomfortably narrow because it's hard when, especially when, and I know these are necessary, so I'm not criticizing this at all, but like the people that need the scooters and things like that, or have a walking assist device, they take up a little bit of room, right? And so there was really only room for people to go like two, kind of two, maybe even three wide without those. So with those, it made it really hard to get through. I did have some lady who really wanted to get through the crowd, and she was in one of those and ran into me a few times, and I thought she was going to knock me over at one point. Bless her heart. I don't think she realized, and it's okay, but that gets really difficult to have people like on top of you like that. And, like I said, I'm kind of an introverted person. And so all those people makes me like, ooh, I need to run and get out of here. So took a lot of breaks, stepped out away from that. But what I did see, and that's not to take away from the show because the show is amazing. What I did see was great. So many amazing vendors. If you were looking for something, you should have been able to find it there. If you're looking for a product that you don't have in your local quilt shop, it should be there because they had everything, anything you could think of: fabric, notions, sewing machines, long arm machines, cutting systems, everything. So that was the nice thing. I did really good. I didn't purchase one thing. I did this on purpose. Number one, I brought a smaller suitcase because I was like, okay, I am not going to purchase anything. And if I bring a smaller suitcase, then I won't be tempted because I don't have room to take it home. So that was one of the reasons I didn't purchase anything. And number two, I don't need anything. I have everything I could ever need. And I'm so blessed to be able to say that. In my sewing space, I have sewing machines. I have my AccuCut system. I have fabric. I have my long arm. So I really didn't need anything. And so I wouldn't have purchased anything unless I saw something that I've never seen before, and that I was like, oh, that is going to change the game for quilting, right? And I didn't see anything like that. Not to say there wasn't good products. There was amazing products. It's just that there was nothing like that that was like extraordinary that I was like, I have to have that. So it's a good thing because I don't really need anything else. I didn't bring anything home. So from that standpoint, I didn't find anything to purchase, but there was a ton of stuff. So if you needed anything, or if you're wanted anything, because we don't really need anything, do we? You could have found it there. Tons and tons of booths. I think more vendors than I've seen in the past. So that was kind of nice to see that there was more out there. And I felt like this year had more quilts than the year before. Still smaller show than it was before. You know, guys know what happened in the world a few years ago. Still a smaller show than it was before, but I felt like there was more quilts this year, which was really nice to see, because we all go to a quilt show for the quilts. At least I do. I know some people go just for the vending, but I like to go for the quilts. So yeah, that was a really great time. Like I said, I met up with some friends, my friend Andrew, the combat quilter, who had some things in the show, my friend Kevin, who we are all part of Rob Appell's All-Star group. And so some of the All-Stars were there, which was fun. I met with some subscribers, and Evelyn and Rhonda and Jen and Susan. It was really nice to meet all of you. Oh, and Mary, I saw her as I was coming into the convention center. She was coming out. So that was fun that we kind of ran into each other. The place was so crowded and so big that I ran into a few people, and they were like, oh, we'll see you later. And I never saw them again. So, and there was a few people that said they were looking for me and they never found me. And that's just, it was due to the size. There was people everywhere. It was huge. So if I missed you, I'm so sorry. Hopefully we can catch up sometime in the future. All right. So, yeah, I had a good time. The weather was a little bit toasty. It wasn't super hot. It was more humid. That was really the issue. And coming from Ohio, where it had been already fall-like temperatures, cooler, really no humidity, that was a little bit of a shock, but it was okay. It worked out well. I stayed in a hotel that was a few blocks away, which was not bad. It was nice to have that little walk to and from. And definitely got my steps in while I was there, which was great. I try to walk like 4 miles a day, and most days just going to the convention center, walking around and coming back was like 4 miles. So that worked out perfectly. So like I said, had a great time. I fully recommend Quilt Festival for any of you who are thinking about it in the future, who have never been. The one thing I can say is the hotels in Houston, especially the ones right around the convention center, are quite pricey. So my recommendation would be to find a hotel a little bit further out, maybe still within walking distance like mine was, if you can walk. If you can't, you could take a quick Uber ride, or maybe even getting an Airbnb, something like that, because the hotels that are attached to the convention center are, like I said, quite pricey. They're $300-$400 a night. And I don't know about you, but I'm on a budget, and that's a little pricey for me. They are very nice hotels, though. I did stay in one that connected the convention center before, or have stayed in them before. But for festival, I stayed in a hotel that was a little further away, but still with walking distance. And it was great. So shout out to the Cambria Hotel. That's where I stayed. And the staff was all wonderful. The room was great. And the bartenders were fabulous. So just saying. All right. Well, so now I will stop talking, and I will show you guys all the pictures that I took. Like I said, I don't have a ton, but I've got a few, and you'll see the all-stars in the pictures. Like I said, Andrew and Kevin. So it was great to catch up with them there, and you'll see some of the quilts. Like I said, I didn't got all of them, but this is what I've gotten. hope you enjoyed that little peek into Quilt Festival. I know it wasn't even half of the quilts that I showed you, but it'll give you an idea of some of the things that were there. People are so creative, and it's so inspiring to go to one of those big shows and see all those amazing quilts. Although it kind of makes me feel like I need to get to work. So coming up on my channel, next Saturday, I'm going to be live right here on my channel at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and I will have a few friends joining me. I'll keep that a little bit secret for now, who's going to join me. Not that it's a big secret, but I'm not exactly sure who's going to show up yet. But we are going to be sewing up the Dragon Fruit Block of the Month from Fat Quarter Shop. After I showed that on my channel and mentioned it to a few people, several people went over and purchased it, so I think Fat Quarter Shop owes me a commission. But really, seriously, I'm really excited that a bunch of them signed up and are going to join me, and we're going to sew it together, because sewing with friends is so much better than sewing alone. Plus, when you're doing a block of the month, it helps to have friends sewing with you to keep you on track. And that's the other thing I'm going to do next Saturday, is on my good friend Russ's channel of Quilt Meets World. We are going to work on the next bumbleberry pie. I almost said it wrong. I almost said blueberry. Bumbleberry pie block of the month, which are the blocks behind me. And we're going to do that on his channel Saturday morning. So you're going to get a double dose of Stephanie that day on Russ's channel at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and then live right here on my channel at 5 p.m. Eastern Time for a Dragon Fruit Block of the Month. I really am loving this project. When Russ showed me a picture of this quilt, I knew I wanted to make it. The fabrics are gorgeous, and I cannot wait to see this all put together. And it's really been great sewing with Russ, because it's kept me, like I said, on track and keeping up with the block of the month, because I'm pretty good about getting started on block of the months. I'm not always good about finishing them, because I get doing other things and I forget about it, or I get bored, because some, they stretch out sometimes for a year, and you can lose interest. But having friends to sew with makes it a lot funner and keeps you on track. So like I said, next week we are starting the Dragon Fruit Block of the Month, and we're going to start with month one. Month one came out in October, but since I showed the project, most everybody that signed up is just getting block one, or has just gotten block one, even though block two is coming out right now as well. So we are going to work on month one. So we're always going to work about a month behind, but that's okay, since the post office delivers stuff all at different times for everybody. If we scheduled month two or block two already, not everybody would have their fabric. So we're going to work about a month behind, but that's okay. And I'm really, really excited to work on that project with everybody. I've got a few patterns in the works, so hope to share those with you here soon. Probably a little bit after Christmas, maybe before, I'm not sure. And then Vlogmas is coming up. I can hardly believe it's almost December already. It's really only a few weeks away. And so Vlogmas is always fun and exhausting. It's a lot of work, but fun at the same time. And I can't wait to share that with you guys. So I've got a few advent calendars to open again this year. And so that's going to be a lot of fun. I got one from Missouri Star Quilt Company, which I'm going to be opening with my good friend Steven, Blend Designs and Idiot Quilter. And I also got one from Sunny Path Fabrics, which is a smaller company that I like to support. And they always have an amazing advent calendar. So lots of fun stuff coming up, and I will see you guys soon. Take care. Happy sewing and have a wonderful week. Bye.